and I believe in the Messenger of Allah, and all that which has come with the Messenger of Allah in the meaning that the Messenger meant. This is the best clarification. Why did Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said in the meaning that Allah meant, in the meaning that the Messenger meant, to cut any kind of altering with the meanings or false imaginations, like those who say the hand of Allah does not mean hand, it means such and such. The face of Allah does not mean face, it is such and such. As a matter of fact, even the mercy, they don't approve of the attribute of mercy for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a true mercy. And they say mercy means Allah's intention to reward, Allah's intention to be good, things like that. Or they say it is allegorical, the mercy is allegorical, it's not the true meaning. And when you ask them why, they say because mercy is a softness in the heart, and we cannot attribute that to Allah. And the reason why they are falling into this, because the first thing which occurred to their minds was resembling Allah to His creatures. Otherwise, they would not say such foolishness. Because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Himself He is merciful, then that kind of mercy is a true mercy which suits His glory and His essence. Why should anyone compare it to the mercy that is in the humans or in the animals or whatever? This is haram, no comparison. So this rule of zahir in attributes, zahir means the apparent meaning. This is a must, this is an obligation. But zahir does not mean that we resemble Allah's attributes to our attributes. As a matter of fact, this contradicts zahir, because the apparent meaning of any attribute in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like that of any of His creatures. This is the apparent meaning. As a matter of fact, between creatures themselves, the apparent meaning of hand for a man is not like the apparent meaning of a hand for an ant. And everyone knows this. And even though both are creatures, and yet when someone says the hand of such and such person, what occurs to his mind is not that when he hears the hand of an elephant or the hand of an ant. What occurs to his mind, the apparent meaning, is not the same. So if it's not the same when we are speaking about creatures, then how about speaking about the Creator, who has no like and no equal and no rival? So no one would equal the meanings of the attribute of Allah to the meaning of the attribute of the human, for example, or any creature, except someone who is either out of his sanity, he's insane, or he is someone who has been saturated with innovations of altering the meanings and changing the meanings and so on. The second point, the Shaykh says, Ahlul Sunnah deny any resemblance between the attributes of the creatures and the attributes of Allah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it clearly in His book, there is nothing like Him, nothing is like unto Him, yet He is all hearing, all seeing. So this is the way of Ahlul Sunnah. And this verse, which the Shaykh mentions here, includes a lot of beautiful rules regarding the way of al-Sunnah wal-Jama'ah. First is that Tawheed al-Asma wal-Sifat, this kind of Tawheed of believing in the right way regarding the names and attributes of Allah, constituted of two things. First, negation, and second, affirmation. Just like Tawheed al-Ibadah, just like the Tawheed of worship of Allah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha is a negation, illallah is an affirmation. Similarly here, ليس كمثله شيء is a negation, وهو السميع البصير is an affirmation. And the second point is that the negation precedes. Why? Because you cannot affirm something, approve of something on the basis of distortions in your heart about Allah. You have to have the right ground for your affirmation. Your heart has to be cleared of any misconceptions about Allah in order for you to accept the true meaning of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The third point, the Shaykh says, the third point, that Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah do not exceed what is in the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So that which Allah attributes for Himself and that which the Messenger attributes for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they attribute to Allah. And that which Allah negates about Himself or denies about Himself, like injustice, for example, and so on, any kind of deficiency, or anything which the Messenger denies about Allah and negates about Allah, then we also follow in that negation. So we follow not only in approval, but similarly in negation, in denial. And whatever Allah keeps quiet about, does not mention, and whatever the Messenger keeps quiet about and does not mention, we keep quiet and do not mention. Therefore, it is not the way of Ahl Sunnah to say that Allah is not a body. Why? Simply because Allah did not say about Himself in the Quran that He is not a body. He did not deny about Himself. But can Ahl Sunnah say that Allah is a body? No, they cannot say that. Because Allah did not say, I am a body, or I have a body. And the Messenger did not say, Allah has a body, or He is a body. This is the way of Ahl Sunnah. This is when it comes to the word itself, body. But when it comes to the meaning of that word, body, then we ask this person who says Allah is not a body, we ask him, what do you mean by this? If he says, I mean that Allah has no hands, He has no face, and so on, we say, no, what you're saying, what you're meaning is totally false. Allah has two hands, and He has two eyes, and He has a face. Even though we don't say that He is a body, but He has two hands, He has a face, He has two eyes, as He mentioned in His book, and as His Messenger mentioned about Him. And if this person says, what I mean by this is that Allah is not like us, is not like His creatures. He has hands, but not like our hands. He has a face, but not like our faces. We say, yeah, the meaning here is true. But why are you saying that He is not a body? You should not say this word. Even though the meaning implied is true, you should not say anything about Allah which He did not say about Himself. Why don't you express this true meaning that Allah has two hands, not like His creatures' hands, and so on? Why don't you express it in the way that Allah expressed it, instead of this innovative way of expressing it? Therefore, this is what the Shaykh here means. And then the fourth point, the Shaykh says that Ahlul Sunnah believe that when it comes to verses in Quran or Hadith, through Hadith, regarding the names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all these are considered to be muhkam, which means have one clear, set meaning.